You're on the road beyond. I'm Todd Duplantis. Did you see that? What the hell was that? It was on someone's doorbell. They caught it. Imagine if that showed up at your door. You order a pizza, you see something going out your door, and next thing you know, you've got an alien showing. Can we take a look at it again? Because that was pretty damn creepy. This was allegedly captured by a doorbell camera at Lake Huron. And I don't know what the hell to say about this, but Scotty Barrett, our producer, joining us right now. What do you think's going on here?
I don't know either. If it was a new form of Jehovah's Witness or something knocking at your door. However, I think it's important to note a lot of fake videos out there on the web. I just don't know. I don't know.
It's disheartening because some of the best ones are the fake ones. So how do you know the difference between the two? Well, we're going to talk to some experts in just a few moments, but I want to talk about this next thing because I was on a television show here in Houston, Texas. The Isaiah Factor. Isaiah Carey, the reporter, brought me on to talk about alien bodies from Peru. And okay, let's just show you this. Now, these are mummies from Peru presented to the Mexican Congress for examination. The Mexican Congress was able to check these out, Scotty.
Yeah, and this is what's interesting about that. These two short ET versions, mummies, real or another hoax?
You don't know. I mean, what I said on the show last week, I was telling them, I want to see the x-rays. I want to see what's going on with that. So guess what? They're showing some. Take a look at that. So the mummies finders were given a full hearing. They even x-rayed the corpses and found they were not fake, but contiguous bodies. So they say. Now, each of the bodies have 3 fingers and 3 toes. One of them inside the x-rays appear to have 3 eggs inside. DNA testing by the Mexican.
Eggs. Yeah, eggs.
Yeah.
See those 3 right there?
Eggs. And the Mexican government is saying the DNA testing doesn't match any human entity.
Okay, Todd, these beings are apparently very old, and there's no DNA database for Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon man. So these could be an offshoot of those ancient forefathers of the Homo sapien. Still, the notion is very compelling.
Well, the thing is, let's take a look at this character because this guy doesn't really have the best. There's not that guy, but this guy. This guy doesn't really have the best thing about journalists. He's not known as a well-known journalist, but anyway, the alleged Mexican journalist named Jose Jaime Maussan, he's been involved in some alien hoaxes. I mean,
big ones.
Yeah, and so he's been involved. He claimed once there was a skinned monkey, a dead monkey, albeit, and an altered bat that he claimed were aliens. But this tale is a new one. This is a new one on us because he's getting a hearing in front of Mexican Congress.
Well, third time may be a charm. Either he's got the story right now or he's got it very, very wrong. And the thing about this guy is, I don't really want to call him a journalist. But then now, there are those lights in the sky still, and we can't deny that. Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs or UFOs. These phenomena are growing in numbers. Let's look at a map. Last month alone, 18 UFOs spotted across the United States by UFO Stalker, which is a site.
And, Scotty, I mean, the Mexican Congress was looking at aliens. Here in the States, we've had a few hearings. We've had a hearing, a couple of them on Congress Hill, talking about, or Capitol Hill, I should say, talking about UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, and how they are a dangerous thing in our skies. We've got things flying around the sky. The government can't tell us exactly what they are, but they don't want to tell you is we can't protect you from that. They're not telling us that. Well, tonight, folks, we've got with us a ufologist. He is an official UFO investigator for MUFON, and he is Les Durrant. And
Hello, how are you?
hey, Les, he's joined us from his porch in northern Georgia. And Les, you have gotten an eyeful out there. Tell us a bit about your role as a MUFON investigator, but most importantly, what you're able to see in the skies.
Well, actually, me and my wife both go out there, and Nigel can attest to this as well. We have the darkest part of the sky here in Georgia because we are about 1,900 feet up. We're surrounded by trees, a lot of hills, and I think we were talking about this in pre-show. Is that where we are exactly? So we are right at the top. We have a beautiful, I call it a theater. We have a beautiful theater that we can look at every night with no light pollution. We have all kinds of stars. And so we become accustomed to the stars in the sky, just like they would when they're navigating ships. I can tell when Arcturus is up there. I can tell you when Vega is up there. And so when we see things that move across like this, just like that, and they don't blink, then that kind of is suspect, right? So I use different apps to verify if they're airplanes or not. So we see a lot of stuff. And my wife, Claudette, she just recently saw a very beautiful object, a rod object that had different colors going around. And so we're starting to see more and more. And it's because of our guest, Nigel, too.
Right. And we're going to get to Nigel in a moment, but I think, Scotty, you've got some pictures.
Yeah, let's look at some of those pictures. Can you see them? Yeah. I mean, when you're walking along and up in the sky, there's this little point of light. You don't know what it is, and you probably don't even notice it. But you've been watching carefully and noticing, haven't you, Les?
Yes. We watch it every single day. Every night that it's clear, we go out there. It's going to be either me or Claudette that are both, and sometimes we're both out there. So we know the sky like we know the back of our hand now. I can tell you when it's Atlanta to Pittsburgh. I can tell you the airplane times and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that's outside of that now, here's another thing too. I'm going to make this really quick. We had something fly over twice that sounded like Black Hawk helicopters. And one time we had an Asprey fly over. So that could be a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But,
let me ask you this. There's one particular picture I'm looking at, really intrigues me. It's almost three spears together, and it's close up. That picture alone, now I've heard of tales where people see objects together and then they separate.
Yes.
Have you seen anything like that?
Yes. I have an object that I'm actually featured in a documentary about called Encounters, the complete interviews. And it is from Bill Howard. And so that's what the object that you're seeing. It's kind of a triangle object. If you actually had a way to see the video itself, you could tell that it changes colors as it goes along. And I use free software to be able to do that. And I can look at each little frame, but it was literally above my head. So if you can imagine the tree line, and it was foggy up here. So if you've ever been up here when it's foggy, I mean, that's why they call it the Smoky Mountains. Well, up here too, right. It's the same way. I could actually still see that object right above my head.
And that triangular object is one of the things you hear about the most. And usually you hear about them traveling very slow and sometimes at low levels with the lights around them, and they seem massive. Yes,
exactly. And every time that I watch that video and go back and watch it, I see new things whenever I do it. In fact, what I did, I like to try to get as much evidence as I can. So I exported every single frame as a bitmap. So basically every frame is a picture. So I could go back and, if I was able to share with you or whatever, you could actually see, and you could choose the one that you want to look at closely. And when sometimes you'll see extra dots in the sky whenever it's going off. Yeah.
You also were at, you had a sighting last night, and I think our director, Nathan, you may have some video of that. Is there a way we can take a look?
I was at my mom's house.
Can you describe what's happening in this video?
Yes, basically, we were using telepathy or vocal manifestations We're at my mom's house. In fact, I actually do have an MUFON unknown at her house. But Nigel told me about doing the manifestations. Basically, what I did was I asked for them to show up, and we'd never done that at my mom's house. And the thing is that it was a good thing for my wife Claudette to be able to see that as well. She was the one who picked it out first. Actually, she saw it first. She said, "Okay, is that an object or is that a star?" And she said, "Hold on, it's moving."
Right.
And I'm like, "All right." So I got out my camera and I'm ready to go. And now with my camera, I do have a Samsung S22, so I'm able to get stuff at night, and that's why, I'm
now hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back here.
Yes.
You said you do what? You talk to them? No.
Yes,
Tell me about that.
Yes, I manifest them. So we talked about the government has already said that the UAPs are real. So what are we going to do with that? And we're like, okay, are we going to go after them? What are we going to do? Well, no, we can't really do that. What we really need to do is to communicate with them. So I've been talking to my friend Nigel for a while, and he said the best way to do it is just to ask them in your mind, or ask them even vocally to come and see you. And I could do it right now if you want me to kind of show you.
This isn't the first time I've heard that either. I mean, I think there was a ufologist named Billy Meyer.
And Stephen Greer too. Stephen Greer.
Yeah. So, I mean, this isn't the first time. We've been talking about Nigel. Let's bring Nigel into the show now, because Nigel Impey is joining us from across the pond. Nigel, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here tonight.
It's my pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to meet you and Scott, and hi, Les.
Hey, Nigel.
I'm basically, I live currently in a town called Northampton, which is in the west of Midlands, or as it used to be called way back in the days, in the 80s days, it used to be called Mercia. So that's where I'm at the moment. As Les was just saying about contact, I said to him about, he asked me about how to best sort of like get to see them. Basically, I advised him like to ground himself, which basically we are actually radio transmitter and receivers.
So are they listening for us to ask for them to call for them? I mean, is it something that's more telepathic? Is it vocal?
Yeah,
is it both?
It's more telepathic, but if you want to express in vocal, that's fine. The whole idea, though, is to actually become a circuit with the Earth, because the magnetic field flows through from the Earth and basically comes out of the top of our head like the crown chakra, and we end up as a transmitter, and people don't realize just how powerful the human body is, right? And I mean, my first sighting back in 2014, I mean, it had a real profound effect on me.
And for our viewers who are just joining us, we're talking to Les Durrant, and then we also have Nigel Impey joining us. And Les is in Georgia. Nigel is in England right now. And Nigel is a UFO abductee. And I guess what fascinates me, Nigel, is it's not just you're an abductee, but you hear about reptilians. You were abducted by reptilians, or what's going on there?
Right. Well, basically, after my first sighting, which was basically, I won't tell the whole story because it's quite a long, drawn-out story. Long and short of it was, I was out in funnily enough, I'd been watching some ancient alien programs on TV with Giorgio. I can't even say his second name, but you know who I mean. Yeah. And it got to about 11 p.m. at night, and I decided, right, I'm going to call it a night. went out into the garden with a drink and a smoke, sat on the bench out there, and I've noticed this bright white ball of light over the end of our street. And I'm just looking at this thing thinking, well, it's too low and too bright to be a star. It's not a plane because it wasn't blinking. There was no sound. It was just, in fact, the whole night was too peaceful. There was no dogs barking, no birds singing, no nothing. And I'm just watching this thing stationary there and thinking, scratching my head, thinking, what the heck is it? And I reached down to get my mug of tea to take a sip, and I looked up and I suddenly, hang on, did that just move? And I'm sitting there. By this time, I'm just transfixed on this object. And yeah, sure enough, it's starting slowly moving towards me. And then all of a sudden, it just went right over my head. I've stood up off the bench, turned round and watched this thing as it went up over the gardens towards the end of my street. I lived on a hillside, so it was going upwards. Somebody had a big tree in their backyard, and this thing just like disappeared behind this tree, and that was it. And I was left like standing there with my jaw to the ground thinking, what the was that? you know? Yeah. And anyway, like after that, I joined Facebook and all the UFO groups and everything that I could, because I wanted answers, I wanted to know what the heck I've just seen.
Well, let me.
And it was like 3 days later after your first sighting. What happened then?
Right. Well, yeah. This was another surreal episode as well. I mean, I'm just. My partner had gone to bed. I was downstairs on my own. I was watching TV, not alien programs by this time. Yeah, I can't even remember what I was watching, but I was laying on the couch just chilling, and I don't even recall falling asleep or anything. 1 minute I'm watching TV, next minute I'm like, bam, I'm somewhere else. I'm like in a darkened room with this. It was quite a biggish room. There was no doorways that I could see. I could see like a glow coming from the sort of like edges of the top of the room, which were going down the walls like it was like a bioluminescent sort of like purpley greeny sort of like glow coming from them. And then I was sitting down at this. I don't know what I was sitting on, but I was sitting down, and in front of me was like, these tables they have like in a catering kitchen, like a brushed aluminium or brushed steel, looking stainless steel looking. It's one of those in front of me. I'm not, like some abductees have memories of like laying on a medical table like this, but I was actually sat on one side of this table. And the other side was what I can only describe as what they call the grey.
The greys, right.
It was sort of more of a whitish grey, not a full-out grey.
Did it look anything like? Did it look anything like that creature that we showed at the top of the show?
Yeah, like the intro,
right.
From the doorbell cam,
right. Let me ask you this, because I'm fascinated, and I was going to. You also said in your story, from what I read from your notes, is that there was not only a gray, but there was a reptilian there. It was much larger.
That's right. Yeah.
You learned that. Are you related to the reptilians? Are you a reptilian hybrid? Is that something
right? Well,
from them?
Basically, Todd, what happened was after I was sitting there with this grey in front of me, well, to the side of me, to the left side, all of a sudden, this, as I say, bearing in mind there was no doorway, next thing, this 8 to 9 foot tall reptilian humanoid appeared from behind the grey. I could make out every detail of this being. He was strong, muscular physique, thick legs, which went down to clawed feet.
Wow.
and it had green scales, like a, I don't know if you know of a lizard called an iguana.
Yeah, I have one. It's sitting about.
Oh, you have one?
20 feet.
Oh,
from me.
right.
Yes,
Cool.
I do.
Yeah. Basically, that sort of scale patterns.
Yeah.
Greenish, sort of like lightish to darkish green, sort of like mixture. And he basically walked from behind this grey, and I noticed he had like about between 2 to 4 foot long tail, which started off thick and then went drooped down to like a point.
Right.
And he stopped right in front of my eyes, turned around, looked directly at me, and I felt like an energy flow through me, like a warm glow all through my body. And
we've got about 4 minutes left, but I want to ask you a couple of questions, because you hear about reptilians that are they can take on human form, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I've also heard they've been here for millions of years.
Yep.
Have they infiltrated the governments around the world?
There are a species of reptilian that, shall we say, on the dark side of things, right, that are called the Alpha Dracos. Now they're the not very nice ones. I'm from a good race, which are called the positive Vril, VRILL. Now we are my species are here to awaken humanity, to bring positivity, spreading peace, love, and light, exposing the truth behind the lies, the cover-ups, corruptions with government, military.
Well, Nigel, let me ask you this, because we're at a time in our planet where the world is more divided, I think, than we've ever been, especially here in the United States.
Yeah.
And across the world. We've got what some people say could be the beginning of World War III happen. If we're coming to a point where we as humanity are about to off ourselves unintentionally, will reptilians, or will the aliens among us, or the interdimensional beings among us, will they step in and say, wait a second, is that kind of what we're going through right now with this awakening, or the disclosure that's happening in limited amounts?
Yeah. Oh, well, basically, Les, chime in here, Les. I want to hear your thoughts.
Definitely. That's what it's all about. That's why the UFOs are always over bases.
Yeah.
UFOs always over missiles. They're just here to watch us. That's really all it is. And since we have just a few seconds, sorry to interrupt Nigel, but Nigel is the real deal. So he basically said, hey, this is how you do it. I know you're real. Thank you for showing yourself. My name is Les. I'm friendly. Can you fly by?
Right. And that's not the first. It's weird because it's not the first time I've heard this. Yeah. It's not the first time. It's been, I've heard it on Coast to Coast AM as well. So.
And I don't know if you've heard, if you remember, there was a case where a UFO was spotted over a missile silo.
Yes.
And it actually interfered and disabled their firing mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah. And the government, when asked about that, said, we don't even know anything about it during the congressional hearings that were happening. I think it was May of 2022. Gentlemen,
Todd, that is a topic of a whole new podcast.
That is, I know.
We're what the government knows and how what's going on with the government, because we're getting a lot of dreck from the federal government about UFOs and UAPs.
I can tell you a lot about. I've been so far down the rabbit hole. I know where the Mad Hatter lives.
Well, we're gonna get down that rabbit hole with you, gentlemen. We want to have you both back real quickly. Les, what is your the website or your YouTube channel where they can subscribe to you?
Yes, Objects and Orbs on YouTube. If you just type that in, I would love to have you subscribe. I even have a how-to video on there as well, how to
Awesome.
capture UFOs. And then you can always go to my group, Objects and Orbs, on Facebook. You can email me, objectsandorbs@gmail.com.
All right.
And you wanted to show us something?
Well, Scotty, we're pushing it real hard out right now, so we're gonna hold that as a tease and bring back on again.
Yeah. We want to see what you've got again. When you
Nigel, we thank you for joining us. You just launched your own YouTube channel. Real quickly, what's the handle?
Yeah, I'm under Nigel /KARR, treble R. Sorry.
All right, Nigel, Impey, Les, Durrant, we appreciate you both joining us. Insightful discussion. Folks, we are here most Monday nights live at 7 p.m. Look for us as the Road Beyond podcast. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Look for us on Twitter, all across the internet. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on the Road Beyond.